What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Fireside Bears YouTube channel. It's Usayd Koshul here, one of your main hosts. So you can follow me on Twitter at Usayd Koshul. I've got the hosts for my weekly podcast here, or for our weekly podcast, I should say, in Joseph Herff and Sam Stevenson. You can follow Joe on Twitter at Joseph Herff NFL. You can follow Sam on Twitter at Shy Sports Sam. We've got the ticker running down here. Follow Fireside Bears on all social media platforms. This is going to be a different video today because we're going to be giving an analysis. We're going to be giving some quick breakdowns, but Joe's got a live stream pulled up here of a 2022 NFL mock draft simulator. We're each going to go through and do our mock draft. Should take no more than 15 minutes for each of us. We're not going to be trading. We are going to go ahead and just make the picks real quick, break all of them down in preparation for the 2022 NFL draft. Before we get into all the action, make sure you are dropping a thumbs up on this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the mock draft. Comment on the mock draft. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. We continue to grow. And we dropped 2 other videos this week on sleepers and overhyped prospects, as well as all the craziness that was the Connor Orr article, what to watch for as well, and how the 2022 NFL draft impacts Justin Fields. Those are a couple vids that we've dropped this week. But guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. I mean, I'm going to go first here, then Sam will go, and then Joe will go. But let's do this, guys. Like I said, the criteria is that it's only going to be the 2022 NFL draft prospects. We are going to go ahead and not make any trades, but let's do this, guys.
I'm excited. This is going to be fun. Man, wouldn't it be nice if we had the 7th overall pick?
Yeah, it actually would be nice because I would go offensive tackle or wide receiver at that position. But, I think with the 39th overall pick, guys, the Bears will definitely have their options. So here we go. We're on the clock now. I think when you look at it, right, just looking at the way this draft board is falling right now, for me, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's look at the wide receivers for this pick because that's who I'm going to choose. And one of my big guys is right there. So I don't care that he's slotted at 48th overall because that's NFL mock draft databases rankings. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the Bears select George Pickens. I think he's a big-bodied wide receiver, incredibly versatile, can play pretty much anywhere on the field. You can line him up in the slot. So with that, the Bears are getting a perfect complement to Byron Pringle and Darnell Mooney. So I know Pickens is coming off the ACL tear, but I think that he's going to make such a big impact in 2022. A bit of a hot take here. I think George Pickens, with Justin Fields' quarterback play and Fields' caliber, can be the best wide receiver in this draft class in 2022 and well beyond as well.
That's a good pick. I'm not going to say any comments right now because I know we'll probably save that until the end, but I like that start you said.
Yeah, so, next up, going with 48 overall, I think there's going to be a lot to look at as well. And, I look at this draft board right now, guys. I don't see the Bears necessarily even taking any of these players. Joe, is this simulator running right now, or are we stuck on like a frozen screen?
Oh, it's running. It's our pick now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it's our pick. If you scroll down, obviously, like I said, none of these guys I think are going to make a major difference for the Bears. So I think, if I had to pick someone though with this pick, I would go ahead and check out what the offensive tackle class has to offer, as well as the interior offensive line class. When I look at the interior offensive line class, some of these guys are intriguing, but I'm going to say that I'll go with offensive tackle here. And this is, I think, a name that it's not necessarily the most popular amongst Bear fans, but I think Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State is a player that's just been so incredibly consistent over the last few years. And, you guys can chime in with your thoughts here. But the reason I'm going with Petit-Frere is because having a rookie OT that also protected Justin Fields in college for 2 seasons, I think that trust goes such a long way. And you look at Petit-Frere, he's got 30-something starts over the last few years at Ohio State. He's played both left and right tackle, but his upside is so tremendous. I think he slots in and plays left tackle for the Bears, and he's going to be the LT moving forward for Chicago.
Joe, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. He's personally a guy I really like for the Bears. I don't know if a lot of Bears fans agree with that, but like I take him in a lot of mock drafts. I've thrown him in a couple of mock draft articles. I think he's an ideal fit.
Yeah, I don't get the hate on him. Why he's literally in most mocks, like even here, he's the 65th ranked prospect, and it's kind of across all mock draft boards that he's lower than consensus. That I would say. I'd say he's a. I mean, I would take him at 39. Like I think he's that good of a left tackle prospect. I don't like him better than Bernard Raymond here, but again, this is our own mock draft, so I'm not going to judge. But I do like him a lot here. I think he's a really good pick.
Yeah, I want to say kind of to rebuttal your point here, and you can hit draft that Bernard Raymond's good, but you know the level of competition that Nicholas Petit-Frere faced at Ohio State, I think just the level of competition makes such a big difference for these college prospects. You know, so when we look here, we're at 71 overall, and this is interesting because I'm going to say here that I want to go back to cornerback here, and I want to see what the cornerback class has to offer. Now, Marcus Jones from Houston's a player that I really like, but also, I think it's worth taking a look at that. What does the interior offensive line class have to offer here? And I think my guy right there, this is a no-brainer. That while I love Marcus Jones from Houston, he's 5'8", but he plays so much bigger than he is. If Cole Strange is there on the board, I'm taking Cole Strange because he, I think, is going to be a, super low risk, high upside type of player. And I think the big deal with him is this, that he just plays with so much power. He's a mauler in the run game. He's really good when it comes to just being a puller too as a blocker. So I'm going to say Cole Strange here.
Gonna add on to that real quick because I like this pick a lot. We talked about Cole Strange on Tuesday's show. If you haven't listened to that, make sure you go check us out. All podcasting platforms. Usayd and I were breaking down Strange's game a little bit. Smart player, has experience at center and guard. If he's there at 71, this is a no-brainer for me here. I think he's a great player, smart player, plays hard downhill. I mean, he's an absolutely textbook interior offensive lineman in my opinion.
Yeah, I really don't think you can go wrong with Cole Strange here. I'm really a huge fan in general of this mid to late round interior offensive line class, and he kind of heads that for me. He's an absolute stud. I think he's going to be a good all-around guard for years to come. So, love the pick here, you said. Now we got a hot minute to a pick again. No fourth-round pick.
Yeah, the only thing I'll toss in here to kind of filibuster really quickly is like it is for me, in my opinion, if the Bears do trade back, I think a priority needs to be to get into the fourth round. There's a lot of really good talent that's going to be available in the fourth round. Looking at the wide receiver class, looking at the secondary, if the Bears wait to take corner late, later in the draft, I think the fourth round's when they do it. So hopefully we don't have to wait that long on draft day. But I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but I feel like getting into the fourth round is a priority for me, and me at least.
I was going to mention that when you guys brought up that I wish we had a seventh-round pick and we take a tackle there. In my opinion, I'm trading back there just to get more picks. If you're at the seventh pick and you trade back to 15, you're getting a ton of picks there with a trade back and this year and next year. So in a team that's trying to retool and rebuild in the next 2 years, that's definitely a move you want to do there. So definitely agree. We got to get more picks, especially the fourth round.
Yeah, I would, trading back from that pick 7th overall, which should belong to the Bears, is just the fact that if I really like the 3 or 4 blue chip OT prospects in this class, like a Charles Cross, like an Ikem Okwakanu, an Evan Neal. So that's why I would not trade back. But if none of those guys are on the board, then yeah, I'm trading back. I'm acquiring more picks because the depth is so deep for this class. But looks like we're on the clock again. So this is interesting because my mock draft's been wide receiver, offensive line. I think here, the Bears are probably going to look at going wide receiver or cornerback. So, I look at the wide receiver room right here, and, none of these guys, if we continue to scroll down, really seem that intriguing for me. So, wide receiver, I think, is out, but I'm going to check to see what does the defensive line room have to hold as well. And then we'll look over at cornerback. D-line right here, not necessarily blown away. So I guess it's worth looking at cornerback here. Add someone to Matt Eberflus's scheme. I think right now the no-brainer pick for me is we look at also linebacker. I think I've made the decision, but I want to see what linebacker holds too. So yeah, kind of scrolling through these linebackers here, I think it's worth going back to cornerback and taking Tariq Castro Fields from Penn State. I really like his game. I think he's a player that, really improved from 2020 to 2021, became one of the faces of the Penn State Nittany Lions defense, and he's someone I think has really long arms, someone who can play both inside and outside. So the Bears just got themselves a mid-round long-term building block with Tariq Castro Fields.
Yeah, the thing too with him is I thought he was like a fifth or fourth round talent in last year's class because I thought he was going to declare, honestly. And the fact that he's still available in this round, in this draft, and this year too, it just blows my mind. I agree. I think he's going to be an immediate possible starter as a fifth round pick, and that's steal. It's a good pick. We're right back on the clock again, by the way, because you go to 148 to 150, so you're right on again.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say here you have to look at what is the linebacker position hold, and then edge rusher too, because I think the Bears, could certainly stand to add someone. So it doesn't look like the linebackers are that intriguing. None of these guys that I've done work on I really like, but looking at the edge rusher group here, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if the Bears added something behind Trevis Gibson. I would not be mad here with additional wide receiver depth either. So I see a couple names that I find to be very intriguing, but just keep going down here for the wide receivers, but let's see what we can find. Ooh, see, I really like two guys there, but I think it's also really early to draft them.
There's a guy there I really like. I don't know if Joe, if you and I are thinking the same name there.
Isaiah Weston.
Oh yeah.
That's actually not. I actually didn't even see his name. I was thinking more Trey Turner. If the Bears get into the 7th round,
I like him too.
I want Trey Turner in the 7th if he's there.
I like Jaylen Naylor too. There's a few guys I like here late.
Naylor met with the Bears, I believe, correct?
Yeah, he did.
I like that.
All right, so yeah, I think it's worth checking out what the offensive linemen hold too. So let's go IOL here.
You'll notice that Usayd has not had to look at the tight end class at all because the Bears did bring back the best tight end in the league in Jesper Horsted. So, no worries there.
No, but I also don't think tight end's that big of a need. So let's check out the OT class here. Maybe some more OT depth.
Taking another off. Ooh, there's a guy there I like. Yup. I love.
All right, so I'm gonna go.
Let's go.
To, I'm gonna say let's go back to a wide receiver here. And scroll down. I think, see, I'm torn between wide receiver and edge rusher, but I think I'm going to go edge rusher here and go with Tyreek Smith from Ohio State. Because, I think Tyreek Smith's a player that just is a really good athlete, has an incredibly high motor, has all the tools needed. I think that, he's an incredibly productive player too. Oftentimes, I think what happens with some of these Ohio State guys that fall to the later rounds is that they are starters in college. They enter the NFL as rotational guys year 1, year 2, year 3. They really take off. So that's why I love Tyreek Smith. I think he can develop into someone who could legitimately be a starter in 2023 when Robert Quinn's no longer here.
I love it.
I like that pick.
All right, so it looks like we're going to have one more pick for me. That's certainly going to be interesting. We can just keep scrolling down the draft board here while other teams are picking. Hassan Haskins is there, but the Bears don't need a running back. So I think, my final pick, I'm going to go ahead and double dip at wide receiver here whenever that opportunity our turn is up. So yeah, let's just keep scrolling down. Look, I like Reggie Roberson Jr., but I think due to the incredibly high upside here, I'm going to go with Isaiah Weston because I think he's a player that has all the tools needed to succeed, was pretty productive. And, the advantage of drafting a guy like that, somewhat of a smaller school, not necessarily the most may not be the flashiest player on the field, but has all the tools needed to succeed, is that you can give him a year to develop, and I think he'll find his way onto the field, and the Bears can afford to wait to have Isaiah Weston develop.
Yeah, I think the good way to put it is you're getting the Christian Watson upside in the 6th or 7th round because you're getting an FCS-type player that has the incredible measurables of what Weston has and Watson has that still need developmental work. Obviously, Weston's a little more concerned with injuries and staying on the field and overall just ability and technique, but he definitely has the measurables similar to Watson. So can't complain here either.
I got nothing else to add. I don't know a lot about Weston, so I'm going to go off what you guys are saying here.
Recommend checking him out. I believe he had 1,000 yards as a true freshman at Northern Iowa, which is impressive for FCS. He was true or redshirt. I'm not sure which one, but
my interest is piqued.
All right, looks like we're finishing this up then for you said.
All right. So, yeah, let's just see how the rest.
Didn't take the punt, God.
Disappointed.
Matt, I can't say his last name. It's like Ariza or Arizia, you know.
I think it's Ariza.
It's just punt God.
You just call him the punt God.
Yeah, that's what Ariaza means.
You know some team is going to take him early. You know some team is going to take him.
He's going to be a 5th round pick, 100%.
So I could see like a team like, I don't know if Baltimore would do this, but like they have so many picks in the 4th and 3rd round. Like if they don't move all those picks, like why not?
Yeah, I mean, the only issue with him that I have is that he's not accurate at all. So
true. He's just got a cannon.
So, you know, some real quick analysis on my end before we turn over to Sam is that I think, you know, you get Pickens, Petit, Frere, Cole Strange. That's 3 day 1 starters right there. Tariq Castro Fields, another possible day 1 starter. Then you have Tyreek Smith and Isaiah Weston. So, you know, really my mock draft, I think, with this one was just predicated on getting those starter caliber players, Pickens, Petit, Frere, Cole Strange. Not only are they day 1 starters, there's also long-term building blocks right there. Castro Fields, I think, is a wild card to start on day 1. Weston Smith, a couple rotational guys that could possibly turn into future starters. So this, in my opinion, is a really solid mock draft. What do you guys think, though?
You go first, Sam.
I like it. I think I like the priority of going offense early. Again, what makes, I think, a mock draft like this fun is in most cases we'd probably be trading back, but since we can't, you kind of really have to work with what you've got. I kind of spoke my mind on Cole Strange, Petit Frere. I think a lot of Bears fans want George Pickens, and I'm definitely one of them. I like George Pickens there at 39. And a couple of solid depth pieces. Again, I'm going to have to do some film watch on Weston, but I think it's a solid mock. I enjoy it. I think it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, 5 of the 6 guys are guys that I absolutely love, and then there's George Pickens, who I'm not super high on. But regardless, I think Pickens has the high upside. I think it's a really good overall mock draft. You're addressing offense early, defense at the end of the draft, and then getting a developmental wide receiver. No complaints here at all.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and turn it over to Sam now. So, you know, Sam's gonna
press refresh. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I would say just go ahead and press the restart or refresh.
I don't wanna delete your mock. That's the only issue we have here.
It saves to your drafts, Joe.
You sure? Even if I do refresh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can also just go to that the 3 white bars at the top and just probably click the simulator again.
So that will work then. Yep.
Come on, man. Know the website.
Hey man, I'm never this zoomed in.
Dude, the thing is we're literally saving the mock, right? By what do you call it? Looking at the video.
Well, yes, true. Correct. But that's not the name.
It's good to get them in the database.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're watching this, you've never seen this website, this is the simulator to go to.
Yeah. And we're not gonna edit any of this out. So Sam's mock draft is next.
Whoa, who said Sam was next? Why can't I go next?
You can go next if you want.
No, I don't want to know.
All right. Before we get into mine, so don't be surprised if 1 or 2 of my picks is similar to you said, but I am going to try to kind of go a little bit more off script because there's definitely a lot of other names that I like. Again, this draft players might drop that didn't drop in you said, so it's random chance with that. So we'll just kind of see who's with me there at 39. Oh man. So let's look at our offensive tackle class real quick. I would like to then look at the wide receivers and just see who we're working with here. See, it's unfortunate because I really wanted Tyler Smith here. And
yep, I winced when I saw him go at 35.
Which could totally happen. So go back to the offensive tackle prospects real quick. I know I just said that. Can you go to the cornerbacks real quick? I think I saw a name. Ooh. Yeah, we're going to be going with Kyler Gordon out of Washington. I got a first-round grade on this guy. Absolutely love his tape. I think he fits exactly what we're looking for alongside Jalen Johnson. And I've said this on the podcast. If you haven't listened to that at that point, you're going to hear me from it now again. I don't want the Bears to take a corner or a defensive player early unless a player who I have a first-round grade on drops. Kyler Gordon is one of those guys. If he drops to 39, I want him. That's my pick.
Yeah, he's a star. He's going to be really good. This class is just so deep that he's going to fall to the second, possibly. So, love it.
I'm very happy with that pick. Go ahead. Can you go to our offensive? I cannot believe Devin Lloyd is still there.
Yeah.
Devin Lloyd would be a dream, but I also think that he would be a luxury pick, and I think that's the tough thing about some of these picks this year is that there's a guy like Devin Lloyd that's still on the board, but then ultimately as Sam continues to make his selection here, because the Bears are on the clock, is that
go to the interior, Joe.
Some of these picks are going to be luxury picks, And
then who's available at wide receiver? Oh, man. I'm going to take a pick that might be reaching a little bit. Go to our interior offensive line. Okay, I gotta think about this one for a second. Because at this point, if I was doing this mock, I'm probably trading back. However, because we can't, I might be reaching here a little bit. But give me Dylan Parham. I don't know if I said his last name right. I probably didn't. First of all, love the intangibles. He's 6'3", over 300 pounds. Great arm length, great hands rate. He's got a lot of experience, kind of similar to Cole Strange. I think he played majority center in college. I might be wrong with that, but I think a move to guard wouldn't be too bad. Just really like what he's got. I think he's one of the things I like NFL.com, what they describe him as, is a task-oriented blocker, and that just kind of shows, I think he's a smart player. Again, it's a little bit of a reach here at 48, but I like him over Jamari Saylor a little bit more, so I'm taking the boy from Memphis.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his game. I think that task-oriented is very good. He's always finding work to do is kind of the way I see him. He's always trying to find a block. He's always trying to – he's mean, he's nasty. He's an overall good guard. So, agreed. Love it.
Yeah, he's a player that I look at. I like him too. I think another long-term building block, just a complete mauler in the run game, really solid in pass protection too. So I think that's an excellent pick right there, Sam.
Thank you. Joe, go ahead and go to the wide receivers for me. I just want to kind of see. Oh, baby, let's go!
Ooh. Oh, but this is here too. Ooh, these three here are nice. I know. It's hard though. It's hard. I love Alex Pierce too. So
I love all three of these guys as well. I think they're all going to be studs. That being said, give me, without a doubt, probably one of the best route running wide receivers in this draft class. A guy who maybe didn't have the best combine numbers, but still was an absolute stud at Purdue. I watched him for 2 years because my dad's a Boilermaker fan. I think he was better than Rondale Moore the year that Moore got drafted. Give me David Bell in a Chicago Bears uniform with the 71st overall pick. I cannot believe he was there. I am so excited.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about him enough. I really don't have anything else to say, really.
I mean, if you're not a consistent listener, you got to go back. Joe and I have been talking about Bell since last season.
Probably since I started getting on the podcast. Pretty sure my first episode we talked about David Bell.
Because we were talking about the David Bell, Michael Gallup dream. Sad.
Very sad.
Yeah, I like David Bell as well. I would say this is that there's like a guy like Jalen Tolbert I wouldn't be mad with at that pick because he would bring speed to the offense. But then I just think that David Bell does not get enough credit for being one of the most complete wide receivers in this draft class. Now, I think that he certainly didn't test the best at the combine, which is why he's going to slip. But if you're the Bears, sometimes crappy testing numbers actually play into your favor, whether people are going to admit it or not. And, I would argue this, that the testing numbers are great, but what you put out onto the field in terms of what you do on film is really what matters.
Yeah, I think watch the tape. When guys have kind of lousy testing numbers in some areas, watch the tape. DK Metcalf had a terrible 3-cone drill and is arguably one of the better young wide receivers in the league. Should have probably been a first-round pick. Joseph, I would like for you to look at our corners and our offensive tackles really quickly.
Just a reminder, you already took corner, by the way.
I know. I'm just looking to see who's available. I didn't think Kyler Gordon was going to drop to me.
That's fair.
I really like Damari Mathias, and he's met with the Bears, but I'm not going to be taking him because I just don't think I could justify taking 2 corners. Can we look at our offensive tackles?
Yes, sir.
There he is. There he is. Yep, we are going to be taking Matt Waletsko, I believe is how you say it. I might have butchered that. He's met with the Bears virtually. 36-inch arms. Super athletic. I think he had some pretty good combine numbers if I remember correctly. If the Bears want kind of a project player a little bit on the offensive line, a guy who could potentially be a really good swing tackle, someone with a lot of really solid athletic intangibles and just good physique overall, I really, really like this pick. He's a guy that I've kind of gotten onto recently in the past couple of weeks, but if he's there in round 5, I really like him as kind of a project player for the Bears, in my opinion.
Well put. Bears met with him too, right?
Virtually, yes. I don't think they had a top 30 visit with him, but I know they met with him virtually once or twice.
I could have sworn I read it was top 30.
I think that he met with the top 30 pick with another. It was a Jordan Schultz tweet, I believe.
Yeah,
but he met virtually with a bunch of other teams too.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. Could totally be wrong there. But I like this pick here in round 5.
Uh-huh. You said anything, Dad?
No, I think that, like you guys kind of hit on all cylinders, he's a really just solid player. And there's a lot of room to grow in terms of just grow into a really good player.
Yeah.
But hey, the Bears are on the clock again.
Joe, I want you to, if you can, please, look at the wide receiver class again for me real quick. Ooh, this is going real good for me right now. We're going to be rolling with Danny Gray out of SMU, a guy that the Bears have met with twice now, I believe. I think he fits the absolute mold of what you want in an X wide receiver. I think he would be an absolute stud in the slot. I think he's a little bit of a smaller guy, but I think that that's something that's just going to come with time, bulking up a little bit in the NFL. I think the Bears really like what he brings to the table. I thought he was pretty productive at SMU. And I think ultimately if the Bears can, taking 2 wide receivers should be a priority. So give me Danny Gray, round 5, pick 150.
Yeah, I won't act like I'm a genius on Danny Gray, but I'm a fan of his game. I like Kyle Phillips a lot better there, though, but I like Danny Gray a lot.
I do like Kyle Phillips a lot, too. I just think ultimately in that situation, I'm a fan of what he brings to the table.
That's fair.
Do you look up our safety class for me, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Oh, here we go. I think he's going to take Smoke Monday, one of the most physically imposing DBs. And, I didn't look at the safety class because I'm confident in what Dane Cruikshank and those guys are going to be able to do. I think that just positional group as a whole is going to have a big turnaround, and I think Eddie Jackson's going to lead that turnaround. But, I would not be mad to see Smoke Monday on the Bears.
I like Sterling Weatherford, too. I don't know if I love taking Smoke Monday I wouldn't say early in the 6th round. I do really like, what he kind of reminds me of? He kind of reminds me a little bit of what Antoine Winfield did in college, and he was a guy I really, really wanted on the Bears, and a guy that to this day I'll still be upset about that we didn't take. Before I lock this in as my last pick, if you got a second here, Joe, can you look at the edge class for me real quick? I like Tyreek Smith. However, I just don't think it's a priority for the Bears. I think they like what they got in guys like Alquan Muhammad, Travis Gibson. I think they're going to be rolling with Robert Quinn as their one guy in 2022. And they still got a lot of other pieces that they can play around with. So lock me in with Smoke Monday.
There we go. I like it. You said put it well that he's an absolute monster. He's a beast. He's
a great downhill safety. He lays the hit, and I just think even if he's a special teams contributor, like we need guys like that who can just come downhill and just absolutely impose their will.
Oh yeah. No punk out again though, huh?
If the Bears were not in the situation that they were in draft capital wise and cap space wise and roster wise, I would entertain it, but I just don't think it's realistic. So I'll give a quick breakdown again, summary of my picks, and then I'll let my 2 fellow co-hosts give a little input on theirs. So ultimately, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not a huge advocate of taking defense early. However, if you can get a guy like Gordon in the 2nd round, not only can he probably play right away, but the tandem of Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon with a healthy Tavon Young potentially at the nickel, that's a scary secondary in my opinion, a young secondary with a lot of upside. Parham, I think, can play both center and guard. I think he can play right away. I would expect him to shift to guard, but I like him either way there. I have spoken so much about David Bell. I don't even think I need to say anything else there. I think he can truly be your wide receiver on the outside. And then my last 3 picks, developmental pieces, depth. Again, I wanted to prioritize more offense here, but I like Smoke Monday there in the 6. Danny Gray, Matt Wolotsko, I think, again, rotational pieces, a lot of upside, a lot of potential, a lot of athletic upside. And ultimately, I'm pretty pleased with this mock draft.
Yeah, I think the best way to put it, I was talking to a coworker today that we do mock drafts like every day at work when we're bored. If the Bears' first pick ends up being a defensive player, I'm pretty sure House Hall might be set on fire. So, but if this is the overall draft that happens after they take a defensive player first, you can't complain. You're quadrupling on offense after taking a defensive player, and you're getting not only depth at the wide receiver position, but you're also getting starters at offensive line and wide receiver. So, awesome draft. Love it.
Thank you.
You said?
Yeah, I love the.
He's so stunned. He's so taken away by my mock draft.
Blown away. It's beautiful.
Literally working the phones, trying to get
working the phones.
Yeah, there's a certain running back that I'm having a discussion about with an agent who's going to be talking to a high-ranking executive in the Bears organization very soon. I'm important, Sam. Joe's important too. Y'all are important. Okay, we appreciate y'all are here, but no, if the 39th overall pick is a defensive player, depends on what position. If it's a DB, I'll be like okay with it. If it's an interior defensive lineman or a linebacker or an edge rusher, depending on who the prospect is, I'm not necessarily going to be happy because, again, trading Khalil Mack was all about shifting resources into the offensive side of the ball. I think Parham, David Bell, Kyler Gordon, 3 day 1 starters. Well, let's go Danny Gray, Smoke Monday. A couple of guys that I would say Smoke Monday could also probably be a day 1 starter, knowing the physicality and speed needed to play in Matt Eberflus's defense. Regarding Gray, well, let's go. You got 2 developmental guys there that could really, I think, end up being starters come 2023. So it's a really good draft overall, Sam. But Joe, let's go ahead and reset this bad boy and get through your mock draft.
Alrighty. See, I know what I'm doing now, guys. Look at that.
Congrats.
I'm an expert.
I think what's fun too is the mock drafts kind of slipping a little bit differently. I think again we got guys who will drop and not drop. Like you said, had Tyler Smith available. I didn't. That's a guy I would like to take at 39, but that's what I do like. I think the realistic simulations. I think again things could change a little bit differently. Would love to see Olave drop, but we all know how realistic that is.
I'm literally sitting waiting to see if he drops me. Not Olave. Oh, I didn't see his name. Let's see. Oh, that's too easy for me. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Sam. I have to do it, though. With my first pick, I will be taking Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. He is listed on here as an offensive tackle. I think he will better project as a guard, in my opinion. I think that I had a Twitter debate with somebody, I believe 2 days ago. It wasn't really a debate, just a discussion about Smith. And the way I put it was I think he'd be either a above-average offensive tackle or an elite offensive guard. And I think the fact that you already have a possible solid left tackle in Larry Borum and a right tackle in Tevin Jenkins, you can afford to, have those 2 as your tackles with the upside of possibly Smith as your right guard starting this year. So definitely think he's just a mean mauler. I don't think he honestly has a major weakness to his game. I really don't see a lot of flaws to his game. I think he's going to translate very well to the NFL, and I think that he could be a long-term starter.
I like that pick. I've spoken my piece on Tyler Smith, so I have nothing else to add. I'm upset he didn't drop to me, but I'm happy you got him in this one.
I really like Tyler Smith as well. Really good pick. The Bears are on the clock again. You guys hit on every aspect, but what are we going here, Joe Schmo?
Yeah, so I want to go wide receiver here, but I'm honestly not super high on Sky Moore. I think he's basically just a similar player to Darnell Mooney. I don't think it's really kind of worth it to get him here. We'll take a look at corner. No real guys here. I want to take a look at safety. Same thing. Linebacker. I don't think Devin Lloyd is realistic here, and I really just don't want to take advantage of the simulator, so I'm not going to do that. This is tough.
Tough spot.
I am in a tough spot here.
You could do a repeat pick.
I could double up on offensive line, which in this case I'm debating taking Danielle Falele here, which again he was one of my overhyped players. But I thought he was one of my more overhyped players in terms of a beginning of the second round. If you're getting with your second round pick, it wouldn't be bad here. When you think of a big offensive tackle, he might be one of the biggest in the NFL. He's a massive man. I believe he's like 6'8", 350, if I remember correctly. He's just a physically imposing dude who has long arms and his only weakness really is just speed along the edge, which if you just help him get it better in his sets, I think he can be a very good offensive tackle. So I think here I would take him to not only could possibly beat out Larry Bourne, but to be your possible long-term left tackle option. What do you guys think here?
Well, I talked to his OL coach. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's your mock.
I know. What do you guys think of him?
Oh. Yeah, I talked to his OL coach a couple weeks ago. I'm not as high as Fully on other people. You know, you get the vibe from his OL coaches talking to him. Certainly see that he's, I think, a good player, really liked by the Gophers program. But I don't think he's going to be as effective at the NFL level as a lot of people think.
I like Petit Frere there, or maybe even Daniel Kennard a little bit more. However, you took Dyler Smith, and I put Kennard in the same level as that, where I'd shift him to guard. So yep. I think it's a solid pick. I think doubling up on offensive line is a realistic move for the Bears, especially if you're going to move Smith to guard. Again, I don't love him more than like a Nicholas Petit Frere, but I think it's still a good pick overall. I think, 6'8", over 300 pounds. That's an ogre on the offensive line. That's a monster.
Yeah, he's a little mammoth. It's insane. But now I can't ignore wide receiver, so I'm gonna take a look at it. Oh, I'm gonna change it up though because you went David Bell. We already talked enough about him.
You can take David Bell.
No, we'll change it up. I'll change it up. We talked about him enough. I'll go Alec Pierce here. So, a really good. I saw people talking about him on Twitter the other day, and I thought a really good team mock / comparison was people saying that he'd be basically the long-term Mike Evans replacement for the Bucs if the Bucs were to eventually move on from Mike Evans. He is a just enormous wide receiver who can catch anything thrown in his direction. He can high point a ball very well. He can make acrobatic catches very well. He's not going to be like a crazy route runner like David Bell right now, or he's not going to be an extremely fast dude like possibly Jalen Tolbert here, but he is very fast for his size. And I think overall he can be a very, very good X for years to come and just a very good safety blanket for Justin Fields here.
Fun fact, I played grade school football with Alec Pierce. He was equally as dominant as he was in Cincinnati as he was in grade school football. Like the physical intangibles. I think he high points the ball really well, and I think he was super productive for Cincinnati, who had a really, really good offense this year, in my opinion. I took Bell just because I have more of a personal bias towards Bell, but I would be happy with either of these guys in the third round. If you get Alec Pierce in the third round, I think it's a steal. I could see him going late in the second.
Yeah, I don't mean to call you up, but I think you have personal bias towards both of these guys because Alec Pierce, you played grade school football with him, and then your dad is a big Purdue fan. Just saying.
I got my guys I like, and I like both these guys. Why not both?
Yeah, this is exactly why I don't have a set allegiance to any college football team, just because I feel like it would kind of skew my own draft opinions. Well, but
my college football team's Division III, so not a lot of guys going to the draft.
Yeah, North Central College.
Roll cards.
Yeah, I would not be mad with Alec Pierce. I'm certainly let me clarify this because I set Bears Twitter replace. I'm not as high as Alec Pierce. People think I hate Alec Pierce, but I'm just not as high on him at 39 or 48 as a lot of people are, because I think that when we're going to watch the way the board falls, Alec Pierce would not be my first choice.
I think that's fair. I definitely think there's been a lot more like recency bias towards him, but I still think he's a guy that it would be cool to see him in Chicago. But I like a lot, and there's definitely guys I would pick ahead of him for sure.
Yeah, I think he'd just be a really good complement to Mooney. I think Desmond Ritter's main plan was just, I'm going to throw it in his direction. He's going to come down with it, and it worked out pretty well for them. So I think that Fields can get away with a lot with him. So now moving to the next pick, I definitely need to go after defense here. I like Tariq Castro-Fields a lot here. Don't really like any of these safeties here. Not really a big fan of any of these linebackers here either. What, you don't?
Yeah, I like Zacoby McClain.
No, I was a couple of my guys are going earlier than I thought. I would expect Tyson Anderson.
I know that's who I normally take here is Tyson Anderson. He's jumping up boards like crazy.
And Damari Mathias isn't there either.
Yeah, he got taken too.
Those are two guys I really like for the Bears in day 3, but neither of them are there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like Obania. I like Obania a lot.
I do too, but I really don't think it's as big of a need as corner is. I think D-line, I think they're pretty fine at D-line for now. I think maybe my last week I might go D-line and hope Eric Johnson falls to me. Personal bias there too. I wrestled with him, so. But I'll probably have to copy you said here and go to Castro Fields. I've been high on this dude since last year. I wanted the Bears to draft him last year when I thought he would declare. When I was getting early in my mock drafts, we talked about him enough. We don't need to talk about him more. But the length is there, the speed's there. I mean, he ran a sub 4.4. He's got long arms. He's 6'1". He's pretty solid in terms of physical game and press game, and he can do zone. I don't think he really honestly has. I still don't understand why he's like a 4th/5th round pick. I think he should be a 3rd or a 2nd for sure. But this class is just so top heavy that he kind of falls because of it. So,
and plus he's got kind of Castro Fields, so we won't get confused with him and Justin.
True.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think that Castro Fields, without a doubt, would be my consensus pick too.
I know there's a couple day 3 receivers you like. You've been taking one guy.
A lot.
There's been one guy you've taken consistently in a few of your recent mock draft Mondays. I don't want to talk about him in case you don't take him.
I probably won't take him, but I probably will.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Perhaps is Jaylen Naylor. That's what I take all the time. I feel like.
No, you just scrolled past him.
I did.
Yep.
Maybe Kevin Austin. Yeah, I like Kevin Austin a lot.
You've taken him in quite a few mock drafts recently.
Yeah, I like him. I wouldn't like him here. I'd like him. I think could possibly somebody could reach him in the 5th round just because of his. I think he's similar to Isaiah West in terms of measurables, but I think here it might be a reach, quote unquote, in this board, but I don't think he's a reacher. I might. That's tempting. I might wait till the next round to take D-line just because it's so deep. I like Eric Johnson late. I might go after him late. Linebacker here, though, I might end up going Mike Rose. I think he is a very solid 4-3 inside linebacker, an absolute huge dude, run stuff where he can blitz. I think overall he's just going to be a mean dude in the middle, and we need that. I mean, Roquan, again, he's fast. He can make a lot of plays in the secondary. We need a dude who can stop the run, who can fill his gaps, who can absolutely just blitz the quarterback. And I think Mike Rose is that dude. I don't think he'll be in pass coverage downs. Like when it's nickel, he's going to come off the field. But I think he's a guy that could be on the field for at least 2 downs every series at 1st and 2nd down if you're in a 4-3 base. I think he's overall just an absolute mean dude, and I love him.
Like that pick. I've been a fan. I honestly think you probably take him over a couple of those guys in the linebacker class. So I like that selection a lot. I think he's a nice, solid depth piece.
Yeah, listen, he's a guy that, you get some depth at the linebacker position, possibly someone to develop, someone that could go ahead and, just end up being someone that is even a future starter down the line. So, overall, you look at it, Mike Rose, I think, pretty solid player overall, but looks like we got one more pick for you. Oh, he's
you want to take the punt god?
It's tempting. I'm so sad Eric Johnson's not here. I'm so sad Eric Johnson's not here. I really want to take Eric Johnson. I don't know. I'll think about it. Let me see. Because I know.
Do what must be done.
That's true. I'm just trying to think because I had one other old lineman, but we took 2 old linemen pretty early. I could go get in wide receiver here again, but I don't want Kevin Austin Jr. because I think he's a similar player to Alec Pierce. I think it'd just be kind of pointless to draft a player just to be his backup, basically. If I were to take anybody here at wide receiver, probably Jaylen Naylor, just because I think he can be a good slot guy and could possibly get playing time early on. I might have to do it. I'm taking Punt God. You can't go wrong. This dude has an absolute leg.
No!
You can't go wrong with Punt God. Absolute leg. I believe he had like 5 80-yard punts last year. And his net average was one of the highest in college history, if not. Don't quote me on that, but absolute booming leg. His only issue is honestly accuracy, but if that's his only issue, I'm totally okay with that. I mean, I'd rather have him start on the 20 every time than start on the 40 sometimes and sometimes in the 5. I'd rather him start at the 20 every single time. You either put it in the end zone or put it near the end zone.
If people pick your mock over the other two because of that selection, I will lose my mind.
Yeah, I wasn't. We'll get into my overall mock, but I wasn't again, I'm a total advocate of trading back, so I'm not really used to having picks this early most of the time. But let me ads gonna pop up when we close it app. But overall, I think this is a solid mock, not one of my better ones. Again, I'm total advocate for trading back. If you're not trading, I think you're just doing just a mistake here. So overall, though, you're getting your starting right guard here in Tyler Smith, who's your long-term option, and you're getting your possible starting left tackle in Daniel Falele. And then I think what the plan would be, in my opinion, for the Bears is you're moving Larry Borum to become the backup of Cody Whitehair. So when Cody Whitehair is gone next year, Larry Borum fills that spot at left guard. And then you have long-term built already Daniel Falele, Larry Borum, Lucas Patrick with a possible center that you could draft the next year to replace him, and then Tyler Smith, and then Tevin Jenkins. You got a young offensive line that can last forever, last you for the next 10 years to protect Justin Fields and develop a rapport. So I think that just solidifies your offensive line early on. And then you're getting a starting X in the third round. No complaints there at all. I think him and Mooney are going to complement each other very well. With Pringle in the slot, too, then it'll just be a very, very solid young wide receiver core. We talked about Castro Fields enough. I think he could possibly start day one for the Bears and beat out any guy that they put in front of him. I think Thomas Graham will be the only guy that can give him some trouble in terms of starting. And then Mike Rose, again, I kind of touched on it. I think he'll be the starting inside linebacker. You get Roquan Smith, Nick Morrow, and Mike Rose, your three starting linebackers. And Mike Rose comes off the field on nickel plays with Morrow and Roquan being the pass coverage linebackers. I think it's a very solid base inside linebacker. And then punt god. You just can't go wrong with them. It's just for the brand. For the brand, Pat McAfee. I hope you see this.
For the brand. I like this mock. Again, with the Tyler Smith pick, that's a guy that I want at 39, so I like that pick a lot, especially since you're making that move to the interior for him. And again, if both Alec Pierce and David Bell are there at round 3, it's honestly kind of a coin flip there. Otherwise, I think it's a solid mock. I obviously think you take the Matt Ariza pick because, bias, and obviously that there's going to be people on Twitter who will love that pick, but I think it's a solid mock overall.
Yeah, to wrap up here, it's a really solid mock. Tyler Smith, one of my favorites too. The Alec Pierce selection, I would just say I like him as a prospect, but like I said, I'm not as high on him as other people may be because he certainly would not be my first choice at 38 or 49. But seeing here he fell to 71, I think that's an appropriate draft slot for him. Falele, I've got mixed reactions about Falele. Castro Fields, Mike Rose, Matt Ariza. Castro Fields, like I said, could possibly be a day one starter. With Mike Rose, what you're getting is a depth guy that can develop into a long-term starter next to Roquan Smith. I think he brings the physicality needed to play in Matt Eberflus's defense. Ariza, not much to say. The Bears would basically probably have the best punter in the NFL in a couple of years, but that's going to do it from us, guys. We hope that you stayed through the entire thing. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Fireside Bears. Make sure you're following myself, Joe, and Sam on Twitter at ShySportsSam, at Usayd Koshul, and at Joseph Herff NFL. Make sure you are commenting with your own thoughts and analysis. Drop a thumbs up on the video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel too. We are going to get out of this thing, guys, so bear down. Have a great night. Enjoy the NFL draft. Keep it locked in right here. We're going to have a live stream as well on Friday night, but peace out, guys.
Bear down.
Bear down.